I'm here with Rachel Alters. She's an attorney. First of all, Rachel, I just want to thank you for coming out today and volunteering with CareerRoad.
Of course.
So, firstly, can you tell me about your current job?
Absolutely. So currently I'm a disability attorney, and a lot of people don't necessarily know what that means. And a lot of people think, oh, you're a disability attorney, so you must do Social Security disability. No, I don't do that. What I do is I represent claimants who are disabled, meaning that they're sick in some way. They're either injured or they're sick and they can't work. So if, it's a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, somebody who works at Costco and they get injured, whether it's a back injury or they come down with an illness and they can't work, they have a disability policy most times through their employer, or they buy one on their own. And the insurance company a lot of times doesn't want to pay them for being disabled. So what I do is I represent that claimant and either help them with an application to get the benefit, or I help them appeal a denial when the insurance company says, nope, we don't think you're disabled, so we're not going to pay you. So I'll do an appeal, or I take that insurance company to court and I sue them when it's time to sue, because they're not paying our clients who are very sick and they can't work and they can't earn money. They can't pay their bills. They can't support their family. And they're relying on these insurance policies to pay them the money that they're supposed to pay. But these insurance companies, they never want to pay. So I'm the one that flies in with my cape and I help the claimant try and get the money from the insurance carrier.
Okay, Rachel, what's your favorite thing about your job?
Wow. My favorite thing about my job would be helping people who can't or are not able to help themselves. A lot of times people call me and it's very sad because some people call and they're literally homeless. Some people are living in their cars because when they can't work, they have no means of earning income. They have families. They need to support, pay bills. And some people have been out of work for 6 months or longer. And they're scared to fight an insurance company because insurance companies are, they have a lot of money. They call deep pockets. And these people are thinking there's no way I'm going to win. So they'll call me and they'll say, can you help me? I can't put food on the table for my kids. I don't know what to do. And when I'm able to help these people and I'm actually able to win their case, and the joy that it brings them, and they're so appreciative of everything that I've done for them, brings me a lot of joy. And that makes me really like my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest challenge of your job?
Sometimes dealing with the same people that bring me joy sometimes is challenging, because a lot of people who call me, they're disabled for different reasons. And a lot of people have, mental nervous conditions, and that, I don't know if you know what that means, but some people they could have bipolar, they could be schizophrenic, they could have a lot of anxiety and depression. And a lot of times, they will sit on the phone with me and they will cry. And, it's hard to have conversations with them about their case sometimes because they're just, they have mental illness. So it's challenging sometimes, but I'm pretty good with dealing with people that have those kind of issues. And the more I do it, I've been doing this in particular for a lot of years. And the more I deal with those kind of people, the better I get at it. And the more patience. You have to have a lot of patience with some of your clients because they're not on the same level that you are, sometimes intellectually or just mentally.
So what is the average yearly earning potential of someone in your field?
Well, for a lawyer in general, the salary range is pretty large. So some lawyers can make, $50,000 to $75,000. Sometimes if you're working for the government, they don't earn as much money. And then there's lawyers who make, several hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then there's lawyers who, do class action lawsuits, and they can make millions and millions of dollars. So it just depends on the type of law that you're doing, but there's really, the sky's the limit. It just depends on what area of law you want to enter into.
Okay, so I'm going to take you all the way back to high school.
Oh, wow.
Where
That's
did you
a
go
long
to high
time
school,
ago.
first of all?
I grew up in West Bloomfield, Michigan. So I'm not from Florida. I'm a Michigan girl, and I grew up there, and I went to West Bloomfield High School. And as a kid, I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to be an attorney, if that's what you're going to ask. It was more of I knew that the skills that I had and what I was really good at, and I'm good with people. I'm really good at sales. So I kind of felt like that would be a job that would suit me. And my father, my whole life growing up, always dreamed that I was going to be a judge.
Okay.
So I think that's also kind of pushed me in the direction of becoming an attorney.
So moving off from high school, what was
Yeah.
your educational road after high school?
So when I graduated from West Bloomfield High School, I went to the University of Michigan for undergraduate for 4 years. And I was actually a psychology major. So I was interested in psychology. But after 4 years of dealing, it was interesting because I really didn't want to deal with people's problems for the rest of my life. So I'm thinking, I don't want to be a psychologist because then I'm going to have to listen to people's problems all day long. So I'm going to go to law school. And now I listen to people's problems all day long, but it's a little bit different. I'm not counseling them as to how to fix their problems per se, but I do that. I do that a lot. But during college, I have to say I did a lot. I had a lot of jobs. So in high school, I worked a lot, and I worked in sales. I worked at a restaurant. I always dealt with people. In college, I had a job for 3 years where I actually went out to other states in the summer and I sold books door to door. I would knock on people's doors and I would literally sell them encyclopedias essentially. And I did this 80 hours a week. I was one of the top salesmen in the whole company. And it really got me, I earned a lot of money, but it also taught me people skills and how to talk to all different kinds of people. Because any job in life, whether it's going out and selling cars or being a lawyer, you're selling something. So you have to be able to convince people of your position. So as a lawyer, you're selling your story and you want a jury to buy your story and believe you. So if you're good at sales and convincing people of things, you could be a very good attorney. So I happen to be very good at sales and I did that throughout college. And then I decided to take the LSAT instead of going to pursue my psychology career. And I think it was a very good choice.
So after law school, kids can be confused, like where they want to go after they finish that.
Yeah.
Were you confused or did you know exactly where you wanted to go?
After law school?
Yes.
So while I was in law school, I did a lot of clerking. I had clerk jobs. So I worked for a couple different law firms. I worked for an appellate firm where an appeal is where you write. It's a lot of writing. And I realized I did not want to do that. That wasn't for me exciting enough to be sitting behind a computer all day long. I wanted to get in front of a jury. I wanted, to be going to hearings, and that just wasn't for me. And then I went and worked for another law firm doing medical malpractice. I used to defend doctors who got sued. And then I used to sue doctors. So I did a couple other things until I ended up doing what I'm doing now, which is disability. I've been doing this now for 15 years. So I didn't quite know exactly what I wanted to do, but while you're in law school, it's really smart to go work for law firms so that you can decide, you see them in action, you know what they're doing. You maybe go to court with some of these lawyers and you see if that's a fit for you, if that's something you're interested in. Because if you're not, you're doing this for the rest of your life. You want to make sure it's something that you love.
Okay, thank you. So you mentioned the writing.
Yeah.
I'm in my English class right now.
Yeah.
My English teacher hands me a big writing assignment. I don't want to do it.
Right.
So what would you recommend kids my age in high school take right now in school for them to go into a field like you?
Yeah. So, and it depends what your high school offers. But for example, if your high school offers, moot court competition, then I think that's something that your high school does offer. I feel like that gives you the best kind of roadmap to what it is going to be like to be an attorney, because you have to prepare. You don't necessarily need to do too much writing for moot court competition, but you do have to write your arguments. And then, you go in front of a panel of judges and you have to argue your case. And it really is it's like a reenactment of what it would be like to actually be in court. And not every lawyer goes to court. So there are lawyers who sit and they write contracts all day. And some people like that better because they're behind the scenes kind of people. Maybe they're more shy. And a person who's more extroverted and more, a people person would want to maybe be in trial and talking in front of a jury and, having that kind of, career. So it would depend. And if you hate writing, I would not recommend you being an appellate lawyer or even a contracts lawyer, because you're going to be sitting down and writing a lot. You want to be more of a lawyer where you're dealing with, you could be a sports lawyer, you could be, a class action lawyer, and, you try a lot of cases, and you would, it's a lot of dealing with people and being in front of courtrooms and all of that. So I think that would be something more for you than going into, contract law or appellate law.
Thank you. So we've seen your
Yeah.
career road from start to finish.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you, what are 3 keys to being successful in a career?
Wow. Well, to be successful in a career, honestly, you have to be dedicated to whatever you decide you're going to do. So you have to dedicate, it takes time, it takes patience, you have to learn your skills. So you're not going to just come out of law school and know everything. So you can't pretend like, hey, I know everything. I went to law school for 3 years. You got to learn from your peers. So for me, I learned a lot from the lawyers who were experienced that I worked for, that I clerked for, that, they mentored me. So I think the key to that is to realize you don't know everything, and to be a sponge, and to realize that, be willing to learn as you go. And also you're going to have to dedicate your time. And being a lawyer it's a big commitment, because, you got to work a lot of hours. And even when you leave the office, you're not done with work. So I go home, I'll work during the day. And then after work, I'm still dealing with clients who are emailing me till all hours of the night. You take phone calls on the weekends. It becomes part of your life. It's not just a 9-to-5 job. So I think the key to success is to be willing to work outside that box, and not just say, okay, I'm only going to work 9 to 5. You kind of make it, your career is part of your life. You do have to take breaks, but I think that's a part of being very successful, is being dedicated.
So what are some tips you would give to someone who's in high school to be a lawyer like you?
Well, what I would say, if you wanted to be a lawyer, and I would say, okay, Ethan, I would recommend that, number one, that you try and get very good grades, because everybody who wants to be a lawyer has to go through undergraduate, go to college for 4 years, and then you got to go to law school for another 3 years. So there's a lot of schooling ahead of you, and you do need to have good study skills. And also you need to get good grades so you can get into these colleges. So I would say buckle down in high school and study, take classes that interest you, obviously. But there's also, things that you can do if you know people, family members or friends that are lawyers. You can ask, hey, can I go to work with you someday? Can I follow you? Can I see what you actually do? Because a lot of times, and I didn't even know this, even when I was in law school, before I worked at a law firm, you don't really know what a lawyer does. You're just learning the information. You're learning constitutional law, you're learning contract law, you learn all about the law, but you don't know how to utilize it. And it's really cool once you start going, to law firms with people who do what you want to do for a living, and you watch them, and you can maybe go to trial with somebody. Like if your dad has a friend that has a trial, and you say, hey, would it be okay if I sat in the courtroom and watched? I mean, it's priceless. And it gives you a very good tools as to, hey, is this something I want to do? And then obviously, you take that into your everyday life in high school, and, you work really hard and make sure that you get good grades. And then when you apply to colleges, when you're in college, you have to do the same thing, because law schools are also going to look at your grades. So you can't, get terrible grades in undergrad and then get into a good law school. You have to take the LSAT, which is a standardized test that, law schools look at in order to determine if they're going to admit you. And they're also looking at your grades. So you have to, take classes that interest you. Some people that go to law school are poli-sci majors. Some people that go to law school are business majors. You can get, your MBA and your JD, your law degree at the same time. Some people like me were psychology majors. So there's a lot of different classes you can focus on that you can still go to law school. And some people that go to law school don't even practice law. So law school is a great vehicle for a lot of different careers. And some people become lawyers, some people become sports agents, some people go into business. But you just, you got to just figure out what best suits you. But getting good grades and focusing on the classes that, that interest you the most are the most important thing, in my opinion, at least.
Thank you so much for your time, Rachel. Hopefully someone watching this video that might be confused in high school can know what they want to do to achieve a career like yours.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure.